Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's Tutorial Tuesday. I'm Pablo, and today we're going to be going over some of the tools that are in the studio. But more specifically, I also wanted to take time to answer any tech questions that you all may have, or any questions about the platform that is either confusing or you're having trouble with. So, if at any point you have a question and you'd like to get that answered, please let me know. Deanna, good seeing you. Hey, from Helsinki. That's awesome. Um, and so, without further ado, I'm going to start screen sharing just to kind of go over the studio specifically. I'm going to go over the layouts, how to upload images, how to upload videos, how to invite guests, and then how to screen share, but also be answering questions in the process. All right. So, we're going to go ahead and get started. Here is the studio. When you first enter the studio, this is what it's going to look like. Hey, James, good seeing you. Hey, Rev. Um, so as you can see here, this is a lot, right? So if you've never been in the desktop studio before, you might be either a little bit confused or worried as to all of these buttons. Um, if you join a studio session as a guest and you're not a director, this will not look the same. It would actually look a lot easier than this. You're just going to see the main preview window, which is here, and a couple of other things just so that you have a better idea of what you're doing. Alrighty. Hey, Mr. Val. So now that we're in the studio session, there's a few things that you should know. So I'm going to throw myself back on screen so that you all can see what happens when I press these buttons. So as you can see here, I have two items selected now here, and then that is now creating this window because I'm using this stack layout. Now, this isn't great, right? If because you can't really see the screen share and you're seeing me evenly with that screen share and a lot of times in there. So there's a few things that you can do. One is you can go into the settings tab of the screen share here. So here in the top right hand corner or top left hand corner, depending on where you're watching. And then that's going to open up this screen, right? So then once you're here, click on that fit in container and then hit close, right? So now you all are seeing the full studio screen share, but you're also still seeing me on the side. And again, this looks better, but it's still not the greatest layout that you could be using. So what I would like to do, and what I usually do when I'm doing any sort of screen sharing, and also when I'm, as I know some of you have seen me doing my cycling videos, I usually have that in the PIP layout, picture in picture. And then that creates a layout that's a lot easier to see the screen share and also see yourself if you still want to be on screen. And then if you don't, you just quickly turn yourself off, and then there you go, full screen share as needed. So that's just something to keep in mind when using the studio. Hey David, hey Walter, how's it going? Um, so if you all have any questions about the studio, about anything about the platform, whether it's your settings or anything like that, please let me know. Happy to answer them as I go through some of these things here on the desktop studio. Mr. Val, you can't use USB cameras on the mobile desktop app. I have a feeling that's your way of asking for RTMP. Um, so I'm sorry. I know it's you all have asked that for a long time. But there there are some updates coming in the future that hopefully will make things a lot better. But I don't know if RTMP is on that release. Deanna, what causes the screen share to sometimes be blurry? So that is a really good question, and our team is still actively investigating that because it doesn't happen consistently. Last week on Tuesday, when I started doing this screen share stuff, it almost instantly went blurry. But as you can see now, it's perfectly fine, and I'm sure now that I've said that, I've probably jinxed it. But we'll see how long we go without it going blurry. Usually, though, what you can do to solve it is turn off the screen share and turn it back on, and that'll solve it. David, is there a way to see comments and access your notifiers at the same time? No. So if you're watching a live stream, you would have to exit that live stream to then um, hit your notification. Oh no, that's not what you're asking. You're asking, can you watch your comments and notifiers at the same time? Here. Uh, yeah, no, unfortunately, they're two different tabs, but what you can do is open up a separate Chrome tab and then have the studio open without the camera and microphone turned on there. Um, and then you should be good. You just have to make sure that in that second Chrome tab, you turn off audio. And if you don't know how to do that, you go to your Chrome top corner and then you hit mute site when you're in that tab, and then you're good to go. Nancy, any thought about bringing back being able to click on a profile of someone else in a chat? Um, yeah, I'm assuming you mean that on mobile. So as you can see here, once I click on your comment, there's a pop-up that says view profile. So you don't really, I know maybe you're wondering, like, you used to be able to click the name and then it'll pop up. But if you just click on the comment, this pop-up screen will come up, then you hit view profile, and then here's your profile. And then I can then click on that. It'll open a new tab, and then there you go. Simple as that. That's how you can do that now. And that should also be working on mobile. So, Mr. Val, I'd love to understand a little bit more about what you mean. You could use a GoPro through USB camera with HDMI capture card. Interesting. Does that work really well for you? Doesn't work on my Android mobile. Got it, Nancy. Okay, cool. That's good to know. I will make sure to report that to the team. Okay. If there's any other questions, please do ask them. I can still see the comments here, but I'm going to go ahead and answer a few other things here. So one of the big things that a lot of people have issues with is audio working or not working, and then their cameras working and not working. So if that ever happens, go to your mic camera settings and make sure that you have the correct settings turned on. So make sure that it's the right microphone, make sure it's the right camera, etc. And then the last thing is that sometimes when you have a Yeti microphone like this, your computer might default your output, your what you're supposed to be hearing, and your headphones to Yeti. So if you have to check your Chrome settings and make sure that the default output is still your computer device or your headphones, because unless you plug headphones into the Yeti, you're not going to be able to hear anything, because when you plug a new device in to your computer by default, it'll almost always automatically assume that that's the device that you want to use for everything. And so unless you actually plug in headphones to the Yeti, you won't be able to hear anything. So if you have an interview or something like that, you might be struggling. So if you ever join a stream and you're getting a error where it's saying that you have not enabled your permissions, where you want to go is to your settings on Chrome. So you're going to go hit your settings, and then you're going to go to privacy and security, and then you're going to go to site settings. So in site settings, you will see all of the permissions for every single website that you need. So make sure that under camera and microphone, Happs is enabled, right? So you want to make sure that Happs is enabled for the camera and that Happs is enabled for the microphone, and then you're good to go. Now, if you have both of these things enabled, but you're still not able to see your camera and microphone, and it's still telling you that you're not able to connect, then you'll have to go into your computer settings and make sure that your computer has allowed permissions to Google Chrome in order to use your camera and microphone. Otherwise, it will get blocked there in the initial phase. So just something to keep in mind. Let's see, what kind of capture card do you have? If I accidentally delete the llama countdown, can I get them back? Yeah, so the llama and the countdown are automatically re-uploaded into the studio every single session. But if you delete them by accident before you go live, the only way really to get them back is to start a whole new studio session, because you can't really download them, right? So you can't actually, yes, you can. So I just learned something new. So if you go into the settings tab of the countdown video and then click on these three dots here, you can actually download the countdown and save it to your computer. So if you do ever accidentally delete that, you can re-upload it. I think that's the same for the image. You just have to right click instead of those three dots. So for the video, click on these three dots, hit download. For images, just right click the image and then you should be able to download it. James, for that stuff, it might be best to contact our CEO and others. So why don't you send me an email and then I can forward you on to the right people to communicate about that. Some kind of clone, it does to me. Yep, okay. You're gonna save the llama. Great. Been using Edge and things seem to work there fine for me. That's great to hear, James. So yeah, that's what we've heard is that Edge works really well as Chrome. Right now, the studio is optimized for Chrome. So if you try to use Safari and Firefox, you may not even be able to get in, or you will be able to get in, but some functions don't work. But what we've heard from multiple users is Edge does work. So that's cool. Is there a way to delete multiple uploaded photos at once? It's a bit tedious to do them one at a time. David, that is a really great suggestion and question. We've gotten that a few times. And in the future iteration of the studio, there will be an easier way to delete them. But right now, yeah, you do have to, unfortunately, go through each one individually and delete them. Richard, I did not make Happs. No, I am an employee of the community team here. So I do this. I teach you all how to use it and also answer questions and occasionally answer emails from folks. But you will mostly be seeing me addressing the community, being active with the community, etc. Yeah, Deanna. So all of those types of things are on the agenda. So like meetups, having events, things like that in the future. Right now, we're kind of in a point where we're really focused on the app and site. So in the future, we will definitely be doing stuff like that. You prefer Edge and can even have several windows open at the same time with no problem as well. Yeah. So James, that's a really good point. Chrome in general. You have to have a lot of CPU, and then that has nothing to do with Happs. Like Chrome in general is a bigger browser than most other browsers. Carmen, how do people stream music videos while going live? I haven't gone live yet. Just don't understand how it works. Can you explain? So if you're streaming any sort of content like that, the way that people do it is they either already have it downloaded into their device and then they just go over here and then hit upload image video, and then that'll bring up a pop-up screen where you can upload those things, or you can screen share like this present screen here. Richard, that is incorrect. You don't have to turn on location to broadcast. If you go to your settings, you can actually turn off your location, and you can also turn off your real location in your settings of your profile. Yeah, so I've heard the same thing for either or with Mr. Vile. Like Chrome sometimes is very draining, Edge is very draining, and then vice versa. It really just depends. But I've consistently heard that Chrome is a little bit harder. Cool. Alrighty, so last but not least, once we've gone through the My Cam settings, another thing that you all should know is this More setting. This brings up a couple of things that are really important. So for one, you can turn on your video effects, which really just kind of allow you the ability to change your brightness a little bit. You can see that it doesn't make that much of a difference here, right? It's only just a little bit more bright or less bright. You can update you can increase your contrast, you can decrease your contrast, and then you can mess with the beauty filter. So it really just depends on what you need and what you'd like to use. If you do enable all of these, just know that it will take up a little bit more of your CPU when using the studio. Here is where you will also find your volume control. So you can increase and lower the volume of a mic input. All of the mic inputs are set to about 80% when they first join the studio. So that gives you some leeway if someone joins your studio session and they're really loud compared to everyone else, but everyone else's mic is, you think it's a little low, they're actually on the low side, you can bring them up as opposed to bringing that one person down. We already went over fit and fill in container. And then finally, you can edit your public information. So here you can change the name that appears on screen, the title, the location, and the time zone, etc. Okay, I'm not going to allow these comments on this stream. If you have issues with someone else, that is for you all to address, not for us to be talking about during Tutorial Tuesday. So don't do that here. Thank you very much. David, I think I'm beyond what even the beauty feature can help. I get that. Good to see you and everyone. Any idea when RTMP input will be implemented with broadcast so much more? Hey, Grant. Unfortunately, no. We do not know. We don't have a timeline for that. How did you delete that comment? Okay, so this is a great time to go over moderation. So, Carmen, if you're watching the screen share, I'm gonna go ahead and take myself off screen. When you click on a comment, if you are a moderator for that broadcaster or you are the host of the stream, two buttons come up at the bottom. One is to mute and the other is to block. The difference between the two of them is pretty important, right? So if you hit mute, that person's comments will no longer appear for everyone else. And then also you can still view those comments, right? So like you can, still interact with that person if you so need in the future. If you hit block, that person can then no longer interact with you moving forward. So that's just something to keep in mind. It doesn't delete the comment itself. You can just hit the mute. Any word on Instagram integration? So unfortunately, Instagram's terms of service dictate that you cannot go live using an external platform. So although ways to do it do exist, you could find them if you just do a quick Google search of how to use RTMP for Instagram Live. And because we give you the ability to use custom RTMP outputs, as you see here, you can go live to Instagram. We just advise against it because it is against their terms of service and you'll be breaking Instagram's terms of service by doing so. Can you go over how to stream videos from YouTube in a live broadcast? There's really a variety of different ways, but the best way to do it is to screen share or to download that YouTube video. Just make sure that you have permissions to use it. Otherwise, you can get into some trouble there. So make sure that you have permissions to use that, or it's a public domain. And you can just hit screen share, go to that tab, hit play, or download the YouTube video. There's plenty of ways that you can download YouTube videos, etc. Yeah, Rev, RTMP out has been on the platform for a very long time. I'm surprised you didn't know that. If you just go to are you joking? I can't tell if you're joking or if you're being sarcastic, but yeah, under all of your social media platforms and all your multicasting, you can enable RTMP out, and all you need is the URL key, and then you can go ahead and give it a name, and then you're good to go. And then you just turn it on and make sure that it's active every single time. So it can be a little bit complicated because you're bypassing our automatic integration tools. And also when you do this, you will not receive comments into Happs. So just something to keep in mind. So if you are going to be doing this, make sure that you have that stream open somewhere else so that you can see the comments, or find an alternative way to view your comments for that. Alrighty, everyone. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. I mostly just wanted to make sure that we went over some of the basic settings in the studio, specifically the mic and camera stuff, because that's one of the questions that I've been getting a lot lately. I wanted to clear that up. If you do have any further questions, please don't hesitate to email me, pdeloya@happs.tv. I'll go ahead and drop that in the comments as well. And yeah. Otherwise, you can also email contact@happs.tv, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible there. And we'll see you again tomorrow for a Happs Takeover show, and again on Friday for the Stream of the Week show, where this week the theme is sunsets. I know it's been a long time coming for us to use that theme. We've been waiting and excited to do so. So what better time to do that than now with the fall and a lot of great clouds going on all over the world. Yesterday, we had a very interesting and scary thunderstorm, lightning here in LA, which is really fun and weird at the same time. But yeah, really cool. I wish I was closer to the beach so I can stream a sunset because it looked really interesting. But that is all for me today. Don't forget hashtag #HappSunset to do your streams, and you will be able to be featured on the Stream of the Week show on Friday. Until then, I will see you all tomorrow for the Happs Takeover show, and again on Friday. Bye, everyone.